Hi, I'm Nandita. This is my Can I Have It All story. So, when I was in my B school, I used to be very fascinated by the concept of training and learning. I specialized in HR and I joined a absolutely fabulous company as a management trainee. And I thought this is where I'm going to kind of, retire from because it was totally aligned to, my interests, my aspirations. Um, 1 year into this job, I chose to get married to an army officer. He was posted in a godforsaken place. I had a choice to, have a long distance marriage or be with him. I chose the latter, kind of committed a professional suicide. Had 2 fabulous years with him. He para dropped me, went for the Kargil war, and I was left fending for myself, didn't know where to start my career. Um, because 2 years is a long time, and life just moves on. So I picked the first job that came my way, and I thought this is like a stopgap, and probably I'll get my kind of role. But I was very surprised that I had landed an ops role, and the surprise was I was enjoying ops equally. And before I knew, it was 10 years into an ops role, general management kind of different roles and positions that I had. When I had my daughter in 2006, that is when I again took a second sabbatical. And I asked myself, do I go back to where I came from, which is, high pressure, high action zone of ops, which I was absolutely enjoying? Or do I kind of go into training, learning, which is something that had been calling me all along? And thank God I had the courage and I had the support and I had the opportunity to kind of completely re-engineer my career, got into consulting, um, learned everything about facilitation and training as an insider, worked with a few consulting companies before I started Growth Spurt. Um, this was back in 2013 after some 3-4 years of experience of working with different agencies and figuring out where my sweet spot kind of was guiding me, what kind of work I wanted to do. And that was the inception of Growth Spurt. So I'm 50 now, so you can imagine the kind of socialization I must have had in my growing up years, all the overt covert messaging that we typically have. It used to be very different from how we are bringing up our girls now. So one of the key themes that almost became a value for me was family and the role of a woman in a family. And I learned it from observing my mom and all the other women around. Even literature, media, everything impacted me in a very different way, where the role of a woman is that stable, nurturing, loving kind of an energy that comes naturally to us. And this is who we are. um, Fast forward to today, the narrative that we have is completely different. Especially if I look at the last 5 years, I think the constant narrative and the messaging that we are getting is, rise and shine, get up, claim your space, be assertive, be aggressive, go out there, fight for your equality. Don't be a victim. Tell the world that you are an equal. So there is a lot of aggressive energy um, that we are trying to infuse, right? Again, through media, again, through literature, again, through the conversations that we have. And there are these polarities for someone like me who has been brought up a certain way and is navigating life in a completely different context today. So I think one non negotiable for me has been to find my own north and find my own wisdom and instinct and kind of stay connected with it when there's too much conflicting noise and clutter. Just go in my own zone and cocoon and say, all right, fine, it's okay what the world says, doesn't matter. Where are you on this? Where do you want to go from here? And if you feel that this is where I want to go, what will it give you? At the end of the day, my non-negotiable is happiness, peace, and impact. So, through my work, I want to impact, touch lives, help them grow, help them, again, come to their glory. So if this is what I want, which decision will kind of serve the best? For someone like me, like I have to kind of trot both the worlds. The whole nurturing piece also is very, very deeply embedded. It's very much a part of me. At the same time, I also am an achiever, or someone who wants to achieve more, impact more, learn new things. So how do I kind of balance the two? I think, I go back to the word choice, that if it is your choice, you have to face the consequences also sometimes, of not being completely in balance, not being in that equanimous place where you seem everything is going good and I'm completely in charge. So it does. There will definitely be spells and phases where you feel the skew. You're uncomfortable about having lost that sense of balance. But how do you bring it back sooner than later? How do you work on your own mind? So in fact, I just want to share an example which will tell you that maintaining balance is so much a work in progress, and it's as I said, it's not a state of being. So after I started Growth Spurt in 13, I think around 2019-20, before COVID, I was making a pitch to a HR head about one of our initiatives. And this lady was very elegant, calm, cool, very well put together, collected. And I started having a conversation, and in the course of the conversation, I realized that she was my junior from my first organization. She was about 7 or 8 years junior to me. Her career trajectory had been completely different, which is why she was where she was, in a place of power, right? Because she was evaluating vendors like me. We were making a pitch for business, and she would be the decision maker. The power dynamic was completely skewed against me. It just triggered a lot of insecurities for me. After the conversation, when I came back, I was like, did I mess it up completely? The fact that I, as management trainee, I didn't even complete 1 year, and I just happily got married and kind of flew away. And just look at me, after 25 years, I'm making a pitch to someone who's like 7-8 years junior to me. I would have been in her position or higher up, who knows. So it took me, I think I must have really rotted in this kind of a misery for 2-3 days, before I again dragged myself back to the word choice. And I said, you made certain choices given your context at that time, given your priorities at that time. Now, after 25 years, it is really foolhardy to, question whether that decision was right or wrong, because that context has changed. You've forgotten that context. So if you have made a choice, you better honor it. You better kind of, serve it with as much elegance and as much dignity as possible. You chew your ego, you get over your insecurities. You are one of the people who's making a pitch, and you are that person today. So I'd gone for my daughter's PTM, and the system they have there is the class teacher would be sitting talking to a parent, and other parents would be in the room. And whenever a new parent would come in, they would just go and sign the list, sign against their ward's name, and the teacher would know. So when this teacher was talking to another parent, I just went and signed from the corner of her eye. She looked at my name against my daughter's name, and she's like, "Oh, you are Arushi's mother. I've been meaning to talk to you." And the vibe wasn't very positive. So it was not like, "Oh, your daughter has done some great stuff and I want to congratulate you." There was a sense of worry and concern. And I was the third or fourth parent, so I had almost 15-20 minutes of nervous waiting time before I could actually get an audience with this lady. And the first thing she says is, "You do travel a lot." So I was like, oh my God, my worst fears are coming true. My mother's guilt, which had completely played up in those 20 minutes of waiting, that is she being bullied? Is she being disobedient? Does she have a learning challenge? I mean, all kinds of demons in my head were dancing. And she says, I know, because your daughter misses you. Just, she just looked into my eye and she says, I understand. She also told me that you have started your own company, and this is my 5-6-year-old daughter who had communicated whatever she had. I had the most tough time of my life, not breaking down in that conversation, and just holding my guilt inside, and just having that conversation with her, where she was very sweet. She's in fact offered that I live in the neighborhood, so possibly, if she gets lonely, if it's okay, you can send her across. We can set up something. I just want to support you. I love your daughter, and I don't like to see her sad in the class. Oh my God. I just, once I started walking out of the school, just saying hi quickly, my instinct was to just go back home, hug my daughter, and say sorry 25 times. But I stopped short of doing that, and I still remember there was a small garden outside my building, and I just sobbed there, sat there in a corner, sobbed my heart out. And again, I asked myself, you can make that choice even today. If you think this is too much and you're completely ignoring your primary responsibility, and you're completely not there for her at all, you can take a choice and call it quits, or just put things on hold. Is that what you want to do, or do you want to still persevere and kind of figure out maybe better support mechanisms, something else that will kind of fill that void for her, maybe reduce your travel? I mean, once you think of the word possibilities, then a lot of options can come up. And thankfully, I again took the second option. Growth spurt is also my baby, right? So I couldn't just give up on her either. So we figured out means and ways, took more help from people and friends during that time. But yeah, I mean, I think these experiences not unique to me. I hear of mother's guilt and that dilemma. How do I focus on my career when my kids need me so much? This is with the younger women. Women my age, senior women, are primary caretakers for the elders in the family. So the hospitalizations and the investigations and the doctor's visits, like it or not, women are the primary caregivers in families, whether it's your own parents or your in-laws. That also comes naturally to us. It also comes as a part of the whole responsibility narrative that has been, someone may say, thrust upon us. But again, I think it's a very disempowering way to look at things, that something has been thrust upon me. These are responsibilities. If not me, who will do it? So again, from that perspective, I see a lot of women who are like, ready for C-suite roles, but are asking themselves this question, that if I get too busy, if I start traveling too much, who will take care of my mom? How will I know that, the caretakers are doing a good job? So I think these are realities, man, and it's not easy to juggle all these responsibilities. So I think there are 2-3 very clear anchors that have not allowed the drive to die down at all. One, as I already shared, is that sense of self-worth that comes from progress and professional identity. I also feel sense of accomplishment, achievement. I mean, not that we don't have those joys in our personal space, but a lot comes from new initiatives that we take up, on new skills or new roles that we step into, and if we are able to excel there, then it just fills us with a lot of sense of accomplishment, and I don't know, it may not be very politically correct what I'm saying, but at least for me, my professional identity matters a lot. I think the other piece for me, it resonates with the term growth spurt, the whole idea of growth. I call myself a growth fanatic. So always trying to, learn something new, do something new, push the envelope, pick up a new skill. The latest hat I'm wearing is of an author. I have my book coming up in the next month. which also is a growth story, quite in line with, everything that I am. It's called 2 Inches Taller, which is again a story of how a young woman finds herself and finds her calling. So I think the idea of growth is a big motivator. And through the work that I'm now doing as a coach and as an author, I think the idea of impact is it just takes the whole energy to a different level for me. If I can touch lives and impact people and just help them feel more confident about themselves or more clear about some of the stuff that they have chosen for themselves, why not? So I think these are my key drivers. So if I could have a conversation with a younger Nandita, the first thing I'll ask her is to be less critical of herself and not be obsessed with her shortcomings. And it's in our minds, it's very important for us to spotlight our strengths. We don't do that. We often don't do that, which is what the whole concept of imposter syndrome is. And there is tons of research to prove that women tend to suffer from it a little more than men. We do focus more on our inadequacies and where is it that I probably fall short of my own expectations. So being extremely critical of myself is a mistake I have made quite a bit in my early years. I still tend to do that, and I have to again, give myself a rap sometimes. But yeah, this would be a decision. This would be my suggestion to the younger me. Stop criticizing yourself. Just celebrate yourself. Be happy for your gifts. And spotlight it for yourself in your head and heart. Just be happy about what you have to offer rather than what you don't.